There's so many other founders all over the world. So tell us more about Amsterdam Mamas and yourself.
Well, Amsterdam Mamas began as just a conversation. It was a conversation between 6 women who were all pregnant in the city at the same time. And we didn't have a lot of the answers of what it meant to be pregnant in the city. Where did we find the shops that we needed, the new services? Some of us have been here longer than others, some of us were freshly landed, and we were all very confused about what was coming next. And it was around that time that Facebook had just launched groups. This is 2010. So one of them went home and she started a Facebook group so that we could communicate with each other without opening up our personal profiles to each other. And just for fun, she called it Amsterdam Mamas, and that was April 2010, and there were 6 of us, and here we are 6 years later with over 10,500 parents having the conversation. It's just a lot noisier and a lot bigger than it was back then. We quickly realised that Amsterdam Mamas was outgrowing Facebook because the volume of information that people were exchanging was being lost. Facebook is quite possibly the worst place to run a community of that size. And Amsterdam Mamas just kept growing without any need for us to market or do anything. Through groundswell and word of mouth, it grew by itself. So we decided that in order to protect it, in order to make sure it wasn't yet another thing that parents were being asked to put their hands in their pockets for, we decided that the best model for it was as a not-for-profit foundation, which here in the Netherlands is called a stichting, which means a business with a social purpose. So after we had launched as a non-profit, we then decided that we would bring on a website where we could capture all the information that people were asking for, but also that they were sharing, all the stories and the different experiences. And we really wanted that website to become a platform and a voice for the community. So the goal then shifted from growing our community to developing ways in which we could be the most trusted place for them to come for information and support in the city. So that they could raise their families the way they wanted to, not the way that somebody told them to. We've always been very adamant on the point that we are inclusive and we're non-judgmental, and it's up to you how you want to raise your family. We just put all the information into a place where you can access it easily so that you can make an informed decision.
Is it something that you could go global with? You know, like make it a London Mamas or Leeds Mamas, because it's a universal challenge today. You know, bringing up children of any age, right, from being pregnant to birthing to dealing with teenagers, right? So, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, it is absolutely a universal concept. Community in itself is a universal concept. That's just human instinct to form together and make tribes. What we've found, though, is that in order to really know your city, in order to really know your community, you have to be there. And we also knew that we're not really unique. We're not reinventing the wheel here. There are lots of communities across the Netherlands and across other countries who are doing this, have been doing this for years, just weren't necessarily as noisy or as able to ride the wave of social media that we were at that point. And it felt slightly disrespectful to go into their communities and go, hey, we're new and shiny, so come and join us. What we decided to do instead was to make allegiances and alliances with existing communities, and also to mentor anyone who wanted to bring on a new community. Because community isn't something that should necessarily be monetized.
That's right.
Yeah, community exists, and trying to control it with money around it isn't normally the best way of making people feel part of it. So we looked in other directions to support the money that we needed to keep going without monetizing the parents and the people who actually needed to be inside the community.
So what were those forms of monetization in terms of bringing in funds to keep? Even a non-profit needs money.
Even a non-profit needs money.
So just that you're not using the money, for personal profit.
No.
So how are you managing it if it isn't the community that is participating in it? Is it through government grants? Is it through, retail advertisements? There must be some interesting ways.
Yeah. I don't know if they're interesting. I think what we do is slightly different. We weren't really eligible for any government grants, or at least we didn't put ourselves forward for them.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of wonderful and deserving causes out there, and we were pretty sure that we could generate what we needed, at least to start off with, without going down that route. So we looked towards what makes a community, and communities don't exist in isolation. They also need support and services. And what felt most natural for us was to build up our small business community and small to medium enterprise community around us and have them support the work that we were doing.
Oh, that's brilliant. So basically what you did was you're helping the small and medium businesses in giving them a platform of 11,000 potential buyers.
Exactly.
Right, so it's kind of is a mutually beneficial way of bringing in the community to the businesses.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
And that felt very important to us. It also felt quite traditional, the way that you would go into your village square and you'd have a grocer and a fishmonger and you know, how would you find services?
That's
You'd
right.
ask your neighbour who they recommended, and so being able to provide a platform where the parents were in charge of the recommendations, where they were the ones who were saying these people should be part of what we do. We've actually never really had to advertise, because we could go out to the business and say, our parents love what you do, do you want to be part of this?
That's right.